Turn my headphones up. Louder.
Episode 33. We got a special guest. We had one go last time. I guess you can consider this guy a go. I do. Another Houston Texans legend, DeAndre Hopkins, my boy.
Oh, my guy, my guy.
I don't do intros. I'm going to take a guess at the intro. So he is a 13-year NFL vet.
Yep.
Was it right?
That's right.
1 for 1.
1-3.
13-year, first-round draft pick with the 20...
Well, you remember what pick?
7th.
Yep, 27. Yes,
27th pick.
Yes,
This is raw right now. 27th pick, and then it was the Houston Texans.
Yep.
Okay. He is also bigger than football. His story about who he is as a human is way, way, way better than what he does on the field. His relationship with his mother, as some of you guys may or may not know, is something that is inspiring and heartfelt. So we're going to talk football, but at the end of the day, there's more to this man than just football. And as he's drinking that water, he's curious about. You like that, huh?
This is it.
That is Drink Benjamin Blue is one of our unofficial sponsors.
Okay.
Startup company here locally in Houston. John Reed is our guy. He owns. Have you ever been to Boss Cat Lounge?
Of course. Yeah.
That he owns Boss Cat.
He got something with this.
He started that water.
Okay.
But yeah, unofficial sponsored. Benjamin Blue. Official sponsors. Khango Subs. Yes to that.
Yes, sir.
We're not with BioSteel anymore, are we?
Nah, no more BioSteel.
Okay.
Khango subs all the way, baby. That's all we rocking with.
Khango Subs is the way.
That's it.
Tequila shot we are going to take together. So we're going to do this.
I usually don't drink, so for me this is big. It's a special occasion. We've been rocking since day one.
Yeah, big facts.
Never been a drinker. I smoke cigars here and there, but never been a drinker, man. So this is a celebration of our hard work. You helping me get to this point in my career. A lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice that they don't see behind the scenes. So we're gonna take a shot to.
That's love, man. That's love. That's love. That's what you.
Hey, man, let me order my gluten-free food right quick while I take.
Yeah, go ahead. Go, I'll get that for you.
I've been trying to get on my gluten-free game,
So we haven't got a tequila sponsored yet. So
Okay.
Hop, I think you said you own a tequila company, yeah?
Yeah, I do. I own a tequila company called Shadow.
Okay.
Out of Tennessee. Shout out to Memphis, Nashville. Yeah, man. The guy who started is from Memphis, named Teddy. Black-owned entrepreneur. Take Heat, the producer, is also the owner of it. And then my other guy named Rel. So it's, us four who, those three started. I got to Nashville. I seen what they were doing. I was watching from afar. And I was like, man, these brothers out here moving the needle, the right way. Very respectful. And I'm not a big drinker, but everybody was like, man, Shadow Tequila is the tequila the way to go. So I was like, man, let me try it out. Tried it out. Small batch. I was like, darn, these some brothers, which is, you don't really get too many brothers in especially tequila, in that industry. So I was like, man, it's one of the best ones. But this right here, from what you was telling me before we got on, I'm in Houston, man, and I'm a businessman. So I'm interested to see how this thirst my.
Yes, this is Pantalones Tequila. This is actually Matthew McConaughey's tequila. Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
I'm going to take mine. You just do what you got to do with it.
I wasn't thirsty.
Yeah.
But hey.
Now he is.
Let's get it.
Yeah, so we got we got a lot of W segments with Hop. So anyways, man, thank you for hopping on. Unofficial plugs. So, man, what's going on in your world right now is going on. You just got to Baltimore. This is a new step for you. So how's everything going in Baltimore and everything with that?
Man, it's cool. I've only been up there just to sign my contract. So brand new. Obviously Google, asking people what is there to do in Baltimore. Great city, and just what I do know from Baltimore afar. And that city supports their team and has always been a passionate fan base, and is an organization and a team that I've always admired from afar. So, be able to play for that city and represent them, it means a lot to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this is your 13th year?
Yep, 13, man.
How is your body feeling?
Man, body feel good. I've had some nicks and knacks, but overall, man, just trusting you guys. Just eating better. Obviously, when you're young in the NFL, you have plentiful restaurants to go to, and you don't really understand the gluten, the keto stuff. And so, I would say early in my career, I was just really going off athletic ability, just being raw, man. And over the past couple of years, I honed in on my diet, and I feel very good, man. I feel youthful. I think it's going to be on me, when I want to stop playing, which is a good thing.
Yeah, you mentioned us at the beginning, and even before here, we were talking about, I mentioned to you like how you got to come into this room, and what I love about this is I get to have this. Like I know of you, I've trained you, but I don't really know you, and this gets me the opportunity because I mentioned to you that I've dedicated my life to what I do, and it's hard work, it's discipline. It takes a lot every day to pursue something great, which is what you can relate. But this platform gives me the opportunity to do this. And you mentioned how we've changed your career and helped you out and gotten where you've gotten to because of some of the stuff we do at Khango. If you could just mention, like, what is it about Khango and us that has kind of helped shape your career and created this longevity of a stretch? Because a lot of things I don't even think you get credit for is your longevity. You've had a pretty good stretch of not really having major injuries, and if you did, you really don't talk about it and you push through them. So yeah, how has Khango been a big impact in your career?
Oh man, seeing the intensity where you guys work day in, day out has always been something that I took into the season and implemented in my routine. Just how y'all get up early, the intensity that y'all wake up with and focus. Not a lot of people know, but you guys, get up at shit before the sun up sometimes and work before you work. And so for me, I always admire that from afar. And I've never seen a trainer or anyone do that. So can't speak on what people do, but I've never seen it. Or been around. And so for me, seeing y'all do that early in my career, I was like, man, these guys are dedicated to this. I can do it too. I have to. Shit, like these are, to me, the best trainers that I've been around, so why not implement those things? And so for me, I've taken things that you guys don't even know and incorporated into my daily routine, and getting up early was one of them. And I seen how that impacted not just you guys but people around you as well. Getting up early, just having that energy, and not coming into work slouchy, you're like, all right, I'm here, but really clocking in, man. So when you come to Khango, you got to clock in right away. It's not something where you can just, obviously some people can go in there and y'all do a good job of separating, that, but the majority is like, all right, we here, this is our purpose, like, this is how we work, and it's proven. And you got guys like Darius Slay, KB, other players as well, man, who trust you guys and are the best at what they do. So, it's not just athletes, it's normal people as well. And that's what I respect, the balance that you guys have. But, Khango has impacted me because you guys have taught me since a young pup, like how to wake up in the morning and get after it, man. And, I feel like that's something that I tell other guys, in the locker room, young guys especially. They come in there sometimes, they're like, all right, I'm here, I'm just here. But I'm like, man, look, attack your day. Wake up and go get it, dog. Like just be blessed for this day. And, shit, working with you guys has made me gain that appreciation more.
That's love, man. I didn't even mention, we have a Jake Paul here. He's got a body wash. What do you call this? Whole men's and everything.
Hold on. Go ahead. Hold on. Let me throw this shit right quick too.
Body spray. He's got a body spray.
Body spray. Anyways, we do a segment. It's a dub segment. So basically everything you just said, Hop. It's a dub, man. Big dub.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's all right. We just hit it. Okay. That was a dub segment. All the
say less.
The compliments to Khango. I think one of the cool things is COVID. I think a relationship there, at least for me personally, in that time, I felt like we worked out the hardest of our career than we've trained.
No, for sure.
Right?
For sure, absolutely. I don't, there was something about COVID. You was like, man, is the world going to come to an end? Should I go out here and just give it my all every day and just fucking die here in this workout? Yeah, that was the mindset, man. And COVID definitely did some shit to people, man. I think it made people do a lot of extreme things.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of those. And I think our outlet was bettering ourselves.
Yeah. And was that at the time, refresh me, you just got released, right? No,
And
traded.
I just got traded to the Cardinals, who was, I went from playing it, basically the game, before the Chiefs. Yeah, it was my last game with Houston was Kansas City, which is crazy.
Okay. Wow.
So it was, the playoff game where they came back. First year they won a Super Bowl, and then, I'm thinking in my head, like, all right, we just a couple pieces away from getting to that next step. Obviously, we had the team up, 24-0, and they won a Super Bowl. I'm like, all right, we here next year. This is our year, and then I get traded. And I think there was COVID also, so I was like, man,
That's
shit.
what it was.
Yeah, I think that's why we was out there grinding, like we was digging tunnels to Japan.
Yeah, it didn't matter, like, because we didn't have a place to go to because we were using my garage at times. Then we were going to a track at times, and shout out to Patrick, because Patrick, I don't, yeah.
Shout out to my boy Pat.
I don't boast about like who he is or what all that. Like a lot of people are just like whatever, but Patrick's just a real one, man. And at that time, he let us use his backyard, which is the size of a compound. Sometimes.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Pat for that, man. We need that pool at the moment, man. My pool is the size of this table right here, So I couldn't do the workouts I needed to do at my pool, so we had to revert to Pat crib.
So before we actually get to the COVID talk, I was about to say, he mentioned pools. One of our sponsors, Regal Pools.
Okay, shout out to Regal.
Shout out to Regal. He does some of the best pool work. You name it, it's the top of the line and the best. And you mentioned you were actually looking to.
Yeah, man. I didn't want to have a big pool because I'm like, man, how much do I really swim? So I didn't want to make my house just like a freaking water compound. So I put like a little, I would say a big jacuzzi size pool. But now I want to extend it. So I was actually looking at some Houston people this week.
Well, there you go. Regal Pools, we're going to connect you with DHop. He's looking for the pool, man, and you are the pool man.
Got to extend that thing.
So, yeah, getting back to the COVID. So we were at Patrick's place. We were getting kicked out of certain parks because we're not supposed to be touching things, around things. And this is, for some reason, it felt like it was 100 degrees every day, and it was sunshine.
Yeah, it was, man. That shit was brutal, dog. I don't know how we did. We was out there on the track burning up. Burning.
Long summer. But even like trickling into that's where I gained, because Hop, I do better when the world's against me. Mm-hmm. That's, if you know the kind of how I've been operating and the things I've been through, I thrive when I think the world's against me.
Okay.
And you meditate and whatnot, but people always talk about how you got to have balance and you can't be angry all the time. You got to have like calmness about you, and I'm working on that. But the anger and the backs against the wall mentality has gotten me. You sitting in my chair has gotten me. I haven't got a jersey yet, but I'm gonna get a jersey from you.
Don't worry, that's on the way. The right one.
That angriness and that hunger got me. You sitting here and Dre on the wall working with Dre, and I thrived off that. So when you got traded, because you didn't ask for a trade, correct me, right?
No, I didn't ask for a trade.
So you didn't know what was happening.
Obviously things have been said in the media, but I didn't know what was happening. I had an idea.
Okay.
And I was young. But no, I did not ask for a trade.
Okay, so you were, when that happened, you were pretty shocked and surprised. Like, damn, that's my city. I was shocked. This was going to happen. So because of that, I, as his trainer, and Taj, and we took it personal. Like, you took another one of our guys away, referring to Andre Johnson, and didn't do the right thing. And now we had the second generation of the great to come in. and he's released. So it's like, what I'm getting at is the back's against the wall mentality. So I took it personal that summer, and I wanted to prove to the world and the Houston Texans franchise, you guys made the biggest mistake of your life. And I think that was why my biggest driving force. And when I was able to, and we were able to pull that out of you, when it was fucking hot, when it was tired, to see that dog come out of you, I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. I love shit like that.
Yeah, man, and I could tell that you guys was trying to push me to a different level of, just competing, on that high level. That obviously I'm in the NFL. I feel like I've arrived, but I was like, nah, you can do more. You can be better. You can go out there and have those 1,400 yard season, 1,300 yard seasons again. Like, you can do that. And obviously Will Fuller came there, and like, I would say statistically, I wasn't having the success that I had before, but y'all was like, man, like, that's not who you are. And I think maybe following that year when I got to Arizona, I'm not, no disrespect to Arizona. I love Arizona. I love the Cardinals. Shout out to Mr. Bidwell. But I think they might have been one of the worst teams the following year. And then when I got there, I think we won maybe 8 games or 9 games and beat San Francisco, which I didn't know that organization hasn't done in a long time there in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And I think that was our first game of the year, and I had like 100-something yards, and I'm like, man, only if people know how much I was grinding just to come out here and, like, let this game be, the game where it's like, all right, I've been written off and, whatnot, but I am who I am. And, of course, it wasn't easy, and I was coming off an injury also. A lot of people don't know that, and, like, I don't really sit here and speak on injury because I feel like if you're on the field, you're on the field. Ain't no such thing as injury. But y'all pushed me, man, and I helped the Cardinals organization win 10 games, which they haven't done in a long time. And so for me, I felt like, all right, I did the best I could do, but I would say a lot of that was definitely dedicated and based off of getting traded, and that time, that summer, we were grinding, man. Like, the stuff that people don't see, and y'all pushed me to a level of competition that I was like, man, like, I could take my game to the next level. Because of course, you're young, you don't know, how long you're gonna play. You hear about NFL being short lived, but I'm like, I know I have more, and y'all helped push me. And that COVID off season was real, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
I loved every bit of it, and then just to see you, thrive, and that's like the feeling and sensation that you look for, backs against the wall and go win. Mm-hmm. While you were at the Texans, I mentioned Dre. When we were in the gym yesterday, catching up and talking, what was that mentorship, or was it a mentorship when you got to the Texans? And some people can be guys of that nature, of the caliber, can either be like, oh, this guy's trying to take my spot, mm-hmm. or standoffish. What was your vision going into the Texans when you came in, and then meeting a guy like Andre Johnson?
At first, when I met Dre, I was intimidated because I'm like, damn, this is a big ass dude, and we play the same position. Mm-hmm. And so initially, I thought that I needed to be like Andre, like his size, his strength, and just should be able to do things he do. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, man, because I was like, shit, I was barely like 200 pounds. I'm like not even. I played basketball 1 year, so I really had like 2 off seasons of football work. Then I get drafted, so I'm like, shit, like, man, fuck this dude right here is a man amongst men, and so I naturally compared myself to Andre, and in a way, it was good, but in some ways it was bad because I thought that I needed to do everything he did, and I was hard on myself. I'm like, damn, how can he go out there and do these things? But what I love about Dre could tell that, I admired him, man. Shit, he put his arms around me and was like, this is how you do this. This is how you perfect your craft. This is how you work out in the off season to last this long. These are the things you don't do. These are the places you don't go in Houston. These are the people you hang out with in Houston. So for him to come in and wrap his arms around me meant a lot because he could tell, like, this dude want to be like me, and he shit, he 200 pounds, soaking wet, So Jay was like, he could tell, man, that I just admire him, and was like, damn, man, like how this dude is doing this and the things he doing, and man, Dre just, he took me in, man, and that's why, I'm forever grateful for Andre being in my life, just, as a as a human being, man, not even like, on the football field, but just teaching me how to move in Houston and helping me really become a man. Because I was only 20 years old when I got drafted. I turned 21 after I got drafted. So when I first got drafted, Andre was the first person that came and took me out, showed me the nightlife, but didn't let me drink. He was like, we gonna bounce around, we just gonna hang out. And this is just how you maneuver. You're not out here. He didn't go by a table. He didn't go by a section. He wasn't like letting it be known. Like I am who I am and is a Hall of Fame receiver. But he was just laid back and watching how he went about his daily life. It was like, man, like obviously this is a dude that you want to be like. Seeing the love that he had, not just with the fans, but his family, his daughter, just his mom, his uncle who passed away. Just seeing like they bond, I was like, man, this is cool to see. That people can come from certain things and still have the dynamic of like a family. And Dre taught me a lot, man. Just watching him from afar, and he just had twins. He is, man, he is who he is, man. He one of the best dudes that you can be around. And, I'm happy that, not to, go off track, but I'm happy that the Texans allowed him to come back and be part of the organization.
Big dub.
Because,
Big dub.
Listen, they never got to bring me back to do anything, when I'm done. But as long as Andre came back, I was a fan before, so. For me, that was happy.
Well, that could be one of those things you point at, Aaron. Should they allow? What is it? Ring of Fame? What is it? He got honored too. The Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. Do you think DeAndre Hopkins should be included into the Ring of Honor? That can be the Q&A or the yes percentage.
Hey man, I didn't say it, but I'm not gonna say I don't think about that as well. I am human, of course. I love Houston. I still live here. My family live here, so of course that would be cool, man. Just to be in the Houston Ring of Honor one day. Shit, even though I only played 7 years here.
Yeah, but those 7 years.
That's short, man. That's not a long time to be on the team, man.
That was 7 years. Let's put it this way.
I don't know, man. Now I think about it, do I deserve to be in the Ring of Honor? Shit.
Let's put it this way. When I go out, if I ever go out or I walk around, I still see a lot of DeAndre Hopkins jerseys and I see Andre Johnson jerseys. Yeah. I don't see a new wave of jerseys. So, in my opinion, because of that, that's where I think we should be at.
I hear you.
But yeah, it's cool the fact that I've been able to train Dre and then we've been able to train you. Like, it's just a blessing because, we talk about greatness at its highest level and that's you, that's him. And I'm blessed enough to be able to work around greatness. And if I can push greatness to be even better, I've accomplished what I'm supposed to do on this earth.
Thank you, man. And you're doing a good job at it. Not just for guys like ourselves, but, man, just the Olivia's who is, one of the best people that, that's been around, just my camp. But she helps me with my, interior design. Yeah. But you guys train her, so... just seeing that dynamic, it's like, man, not just us, but y'all better your community, which is awesome to see, man.
Yeah, we are. We've built a great community, and I think it's always cool. Like when you come in, ironically, it's always like the busiest time, and it's like the energy is always at the right time and the right moment, and it's just cool to see. And then like you're a human too, so it's like you walk in, everyone else works harder, and then you're encouraging people, so it helps. And it's raw and organic. And we recently he was in here and he wanted everybody to do abs and to Eye of the Tiger until the song was up, and just we broke it out and we did it, and it's just like that's the little stuff right there. You didn't have to do that, but you changed so many people's emotions in that gym that day.
Absolutely.
And inspiration and motivation, and then it went down there and did it. So that's the ultimate ultimate dub. And you mentioned, Dre's mom, and your mother has a special story. If you wouldn't mind sharing her story and how important of an influence she is in your life and your family's life.
Oh man, my mom is shit. That's my best friend. Obviously having a dad that died at 6 months in a car accident. My mom, shit. That's my best friend. That's my mom and my dad. So, that bond growing up has been something that has always been tight, even before her accident. And her accident was her being assaulted with acid.
Okay.
But even before then, man, my mom was shit my biggest fan. My mom used to be at all the little league games out there with her lawn chair. The mom that's yelling and shit, and then obviously the accident happened, and it's just we just became tighter. But yeah, she was assaulted with acid, and I was 10 years old, so 22 years ago, 23 years ago, something around there. But it never stopped her from being her. It only helped her become who she is now, and that's a motivational speaker, someone who does charitable work all across the United States. She helps, Congress people do certain things, So her and I talking, it's cool to hear her say that I'm not sad that it happened,
Yeah.
but more so, I've gained appreciation for it allowing me to be who I am. And if you know her, she does a lot of work with non-profits and domestic violence situations. So, she feels that's her calling, and everything happened for a reason. So we're still working on ourselves as a family, but we are a lot better than what we were. And it's awesome to hear her say that. Just the appreciation that she has for everything happening to
Yeah.
her. And just understanding that everything happens for a reason.
When you were at that age and that happened, was that a driving force for you to like, okay, I got to take care of moms, or I don't want this to ever happen to her? What was kind of going through your head at that point in time? And then
Man.
when was the actual? Because she can't see.
Yeah, she's blind.
She's blind.
Yeah, 100%.
So when you guys found that out, what was going through your head? What was going through her head? Because from an adversity standpoint, like, wow, I lost my father. My mom's can't ever see again now. And like, why is life happening to me? What's going on? Like, how did you persevere? What was going through your mind and your mom's mind? And look, by the grace of God, look at where you're at now.
Right. Yeah, man. When it first happened, I'll never forget it. Like yesterday, man. Just it's like I cried, and then right after I was like, all right, basically I'm a man, and at 10 years old, I basically made a decision that I would never ask anybody for anything. And it's crazy. And ever since then, I never asked anybody for anything. And, not proud of, some things, I've done, just to be able to eat or just have food, but I basically, was like surviving on my own in a way, man, because, my grandmother who was appointed to take care of us, like she's in a better place now, but back then she was addicted to crack cocaine, and so I couldn't depend on her to feed me. I'm a young kid growing. I'm 10, 11 years old, so for me it was a survival instinct and mode that kicked in, and from like stealing food, sleeping, on couches of like places, rats and roaches, and like trap houses and gambling houses. But wherever I had to like sleep or survive, it was like that's what I had to do. And of course it wasn't easy. Going to school smelling bad, or not having like clean clothes because your mom not there, and stuff like that. It wasn't easy, but I was just like, man, I gotta survive. Like I don't have anyone. Of course, you got family members who try to help, but it's like man, they're going through things themselves, so you can't ask for people, and to help you. And so, man, ever since I was like 11, man, nobody's ever paid for anything. My middle school shoes, my high school prom, my first car. Like man, and yeah, it was crazy because I was like, my mom she was in a coma for shit like 6 months, I think, something like that.
Oh, when that happened, she was in a coma?
Yeah,
Man.
And so, of course, everybody thought that she wasn't gonna make it, and yeah, man, survival mode kicked in, and I have a younger sister. She went with her godparents, so she had somewhere to go. My older sister, she was in high school. She was actually at Oak Hill Academy, I think, at the time. She was older. She might not have been okay, but she was older, so she had a place to go, like with her girlfriend and stuff like that. And then I had a brother who was a little older than me. Him and I was kind of like, I would say like the lost ones who was just like kind of like, dang, what do we do? Really kind of out here trying to survive on our own. You feel me? With no parents. But my grandma, she tried. She tried her best, and I give her that. But it was hard, man. It was shit. So by the time I'm like 13, I'm a grown man. Like I'm a grown man, dog, and shit. Like obviously by the time I get, high school 16, I'm like, man, shit.
So where did the athleticism come from?
Man,
When
athleticism.
did you know, like, was it at 10 years old when all that happened with your mom? Or you're like,
Man,
I have the
athleticism.
ability to get there?
It's crazy. Athleticism. I was always like a hyper child. I would say just like going and energetic. And I had, man, it's crazy because the athletic came from my father dying and me not knowing my father. And I used to be angry. I used to be like a real angry kid. And I used to be mad at the world. You know what I'm saying? And I had a godmother named Frances who I call mom. And we lived in the projects growing up. Like my family, we grew up in the projects. And my godmother Frances, she stayed in a like a trailer that's like a half a trailer, like a duplex, not even a whole trailer, but it wasn't a project. So for me, it was a house. You feel me? And so I used to go to her house when I was young, like 4 or 5, 6, like early in life, and I knew I could get away with it there because my mom would whoop her ass, But I knew if I went up there, I could really express my anger and let myself go because that's like my godmom. That's my aunt. She really not gonna whoop me. She gonna say so. And I used to always go up there and I really just like let my anger out. I'm talking about I'm young, man, like 4 or 5, just yelling and being like, I wish my daddy was here and like running out the house, like just fucking running, and like she was like, man, I can't go chase that little boy, so she just let me go. And so I'm talking about every time like anything happened, like I just yell out like, I wish my daddy was here and just like run out the house. You feel me? And then one day she was like, her and my uncle was like, all that anger, all that running. It was like you should go play football and take it out. It was like you can go out there and run fast as you want. You can hit whoever you want. And I was like, for real, And that was like the first time I got excited, and I was like, I don't want to sign up, And I signed up, and I was out there just hitting people head first. Number 99.
Okay.
Number 99, just head first linebacker.
Bam!
But I probably had like 5 concussions, dog. My first year playing, like legit. Like I was out there, like that's how I went wrapping up. I was out there like a missile.
Did it help you with anger at the time?
Oh yeah, for sure. It did, and that's when I was like, man, this is a place. Then next year, I played quarterback.
Okay.
But I could always throw. I had big hands, so even at 99, I was a linebacker, but
Show the hands.
I was linebacker with backup quarterback. The next year they put me at quarterback. That's when I would say, knew that I was gonna be something in football. Or I had a chance because, I would have like 5 touchdowns a game, and all the adults, all the the gangsters, the hood people coming and watching me play, and I'm like, damn, why all these men, why all these people here watching me play, talking about me, just patting me on my back, and I know, you don't understand that 4 or 5 touchdowns is a lot.
And then how did that get to? Because people don't know you were a hooper too. You played at Clemson.
Man, I was an athlete, dog.
So where did the hoop dreams go? And could you win pro playing?
Man,
NBA?
I ain't gonna say I could have went pro. No, I ain't gonna sit there and put that, because I definitely was, not the best, but I wasn't the worst. But shit, the hoop stuff. That was just me growing up in the hood playing basketball on a mailbox, and if it hit twice, that means it's good. So I just the hoops was but the first court that I seen it was shot up. We couldn't stay outside and play late because the violence in the project. So we would have to come in and we would have to play in the alleyway of the apartment complex. So the first goal I saw, there used to be a bunch of kids out there, but it was shot up. And then they finally took it down, so we didn't have a goal. But my sister, Keisha, she went to Oak Hill, played basketball in college, went to Robert Morris. She was legit at hoops in a skirt at 4 or 5 years old, dribbling between her legs. And so growing up around a sister that I would say was very athletic and just good with handles, I used to think this is how I gotta be. So, my older sister Keisha, I would say got me into hoops because she naturally, at a young age, if you show pictures of her from 3, 4 years old, she got a basketball on the side. And so she was the hooper.
That's what's up, man. So when, I talked about Clemson, because that's where you went to, right? What was it like? Did you know that was going to be the school you were going to? And at that point in time, were you like, okay, I'm getting close to making it in the NFL. I'm about to change everyone's lives. What was on your radar?
Man, the teams was on my radar that I actually wanted to go to. Nobody know this. I wanted to go to Georgia.
Georgia? Okay.
I went on a junior day visit to Georgia. Nobody talked to me on an official visit to Georgia. And the reason I wanted to go to Georgia because Georgia was only 45 minutes to an hour from my hometown of Clemson. So for me, that was perfect. Close to home, but not too close. And Georgia had A.J. Green, and A.J. Green was my favorite receiver growing up. So, of course, I want to go to Georgia, be the next A.J. Green. He's from South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina. I get down there. The only official visit that I took outside of Clemson was to Georgia. And in my head, I'm going to Georgia. If one coach come up and just shake my hand, hey, we like you, we want to offer you, I'm going there. I'm committed on the spot.
Yeah.
We drive down there. My two uncles, Chris and Justin. We get down there, sitting in the auditorium, never forget it. Get our little name tag. All the recruits and stuff is in there, their family. Everybody else is talking to people, coaches going up. So we stay there. I'm thinking. That was my only official visit that I took. So junior day, not official visit. Junior. I don't know the difference now, but junior day. But only like official junior, whatever visit I took. So I've never done it before. So we thinking this normal. They're gonna get around to us. Everybody got to get up and go somewhere else. But we see that coaches have basically went up to everybody else but us. It's like, damn. My uncle's like, what you want to do? Like, I'm not going here. Let's leave. So left right before the visit even really I would say not started, but
yeah.
And we just shot out and drove back home.
Biggest mistake they made, huh?
Biggest mistake? No, I ain't gonna say the biggest mistake because they got my boy Ty Gurley. And then Ty Gurley just turned it up. But I would say Ty Gurley helped Georgia get over that hump. Just because I've always been a Georgia fan.
Got it.
And if you are a Georgia fan, you know that Georgia always been that team that's like always there but never got there. And so I would say it wasn't the biggest mistake, but I think I could have helped them get over that hump faster.
For sure.
Whatever.
What is it? You didn't win a championship in Clemson, did you?
No, I didn't. We lost this shit. We lost 2 games. My sophomore, junior year, 2 games.
Okay. Were you with Dabo? Was that Dabo era or no?
That was Dabo.
Okay,
that was Dabo 3rd year. I might have been his 3rd class, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Then who was I thinking of? Oh, the crowd. Would you consider Clemson football the best, unbiasedly, the best crowd noise and crowd that there is in NFL and NCAA football?
I think Clemson crowd is by far the loudest.
Virginia Tech.
But what people don't understand is we have a little advantage.
Okay.
Why? Like, what is it called? The decimal. You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
meter.
yeah.
I mean, it gets loud, but we're in a valley. Not a lot of people are in a valley, and if you understand aerodynamics of sound, you know that it sounds louder than it really is. Sometimes if you're in a valley, and so at Clemson, you can hear the crowd 20 minutes away.
Damn.
You get what I'm saying?
Damn.
Seriously. And so, like, if you're around there and nothing's going on, like, I live 10 minutes from campus. Like, you hear every touchdown.
Wow. That's insane.
So, obviously, as a kid, you play in the backyard.
That's what's up.
On Saturdays, and if you're not watching the game, you hear it. And even if you're watching on TV, sometimes you hear it 10 minutes away. Which is cool. You know, not a lot of places like that.
No, it lives up to the hype. I just figured Virginia Tech, their crowd is pretty insane, but you guys do got an advantage. I didn't even think about the Valley.
And it was 90,000 back then, so this was before all the stuff they've added.
You know, speaking of that, I think I was talking to Dre about it. Back when you were in college and you had NIL deals, how would that have worked with you?
I think for me, you know, I gave all my money. I gave basically more than half my Pell Grant to my mom.
Okay.
You know, because we were still struggling when I was in college. People wasn't, you know, under the table. You know, I'm just being like, I didn't get on the table. Excuse me, I can't say some of the other players didn't, but I didn't get it. You know, I had some ramen noodles and shit, so we was out there, you know, making it stretch. But yeah, man, I think if I had the NIL, I don't think it would have been any different for me because I was focused, man. I was grinding. I was locked in. You know, I didn't want to transfer. I didn't want to go anywhere. I was 3 and out. I knew it. I had a plan. I had a mission. Get better. I'm 3 and out. You know, and that's what I did. I didn't get for me. My family's struggling, so
yeah.
If I got drafted in the 5th round, I was okay with that. I knew I was gonna grind and go down and be somebody gunner or something.
by any, it's cool to know because by any means you had to succeed no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's cool to hear that now because it reminds me of that clip. It was Hard Knocks, and who were you going up against the Redskins?
And
DeAngelo Hall, and there's this clip where they're going back and forth, fight with each other, and Hop just stands up. He says, "I feel God, homie," and like knowing your story now, and even the perception of people that may think you're soft or any of that shit. That's not it at all. Like there's a story inside you. Like you had to survive, and it's like ain't nobody's gonna punk me, get in my way, and it's not an act, and you're not soft by any means, and that's the shit I love. So it's cool to hear that, man. I commend you for having perseverance, and even in college, like you said, you had to make this shit stretch, and look what you did now. So that's a big dub. Big dub.
And you know the DeAngelo Hall situation.
Oh yeah.
Know, I don't want to speak on it too much because you know I got a lot of respect for DeAngelo Hall, and I actually knew who he was before the incident happened because I actually respected his game, and I thought he was a dog. You know, and I was, you know, like when the situation happened, I was just kind of surprised because I respected him and I never talked to him before, but I like admire him, and so you know when you know it happened, and he kind of you know stepped in front of me. I was kind of like shocked, like, dang, man, like, you know, like, shit, you know, like, but knowing him, I knew that it could escalate there, but, like, I just really, you know, I had a lot going on, too, man, you know, just off the field. Not me personally, but my best friend just got sentenced to 35 years, you know, for killing somebody.
Damn, man.
Like, shooting 2 people,
Sorry.
you know, like, just like who I grew up with every day, you know, so, it was the same week as that happened, you know, and it's like, me and him grew up together, you know, like every day type shit. So when that happened, I was like, man, like, bro, like, obviously I'm out here playing football, but dog, like, it's real life shit going on, and you know, like, man, you know, you just get some people on the wrong day, the wrong week, you know, and like honestly, like, I was like, man, I didn't want that to be shown, and like my perspective of you know me, because you know obviously cameras, and you don't want people to be like. Think you like a fucking, you know, gangster, ignorant and shit. You know how the media try to portray, you know, especially black people when we show emotions. They define us as ignorant and shit like that, or like, but then somebody else can go show emotion,
The narrative.
and then it's like, oh, they're just passionate. So I like in my head, I'm like, damn, I hope they don't show this clip, honestly, because I'm like, man, I'm really going, like, shit, I'm human, I'm going through shit, I saw this, and I hate that, D'Angelo Hall, and I, had that situation, because shit, I was really like, people who think I'm soft, and like, man, look, I don't care what nobody think, I love everybody, and I got kids, man. I'm not out here trying to, brag and boast about like, real shit, man.
Yeah.
Like everybody go through stuff. That's why I don't wear jewelry and stuff like that, because that don't, like, man, I've been around real life situations where, if you know what I'm saying, man. But that's not the life you want to portray, man.
Yeah, no, man, it's cool. It brings me to more of like understanding like how you're such a generous. Because I mentioned in the beginning, he's more than just football. You're a great fucking human being. I've seen you've impacted our lives tremendously with your support and everything you've done for us. And just the stuff that you see your mother go through, and I guess ultimately tying it back to finally getting that call. By the Texans. What was that like for you? And
man,
getting that gratifying feeling, like, fine, I finally did something.
He playing baseball, man. He just, bro, that shit crazy, because I think he be stressed out because he my son. He think he gotta be great.
Oh,
I swear that shit weird, for real. Like this dude, he a pit, like he good as fuck, and I've never gotten. I don't even like throwing. Like, it's crazy. I only like throwing the football with him. I let other people do it, and I sit back because I don't want him to think like, my dad want me to do this.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That's tough as a parent, but it's great. It's a blessing and a curse as the kid, because he's showing you have a standard, like you're his
But
dad.
I never say shit to him. I never tell him anything. That's crazy. But like, I swear, he 10, and like this dude be pitching and shit, like be fucking getting people out, like good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He play like he on the bench team, quarterback. He be out there like like fucking throwing shit, bro. That shit crazy. But he like, if he fuck up, he might start like almost wanting to cry.
That's gonna get him
Like,
somewhere,
what the
though.
fuck?
That's gonna get him somewhere, though. I'd rather.
But that shit crazy.
Well, in today's world, I like that, because I forgot to even ask you about the NIL stuff. Do you think that's just going to affect the game and affect sports? Because like, you get this money at that age, and they don't have the same hunger as you. You are trying to survive life.
There we go.
You're not getting $1 million before you get to the NFL already when you're 19, 20 years old.
Nah, man, that definitely affect you. That affect your drive and hunger in some way. I'm not gonna say. Like, there are some great college players who are going to be great. I'm not going to say that affects everybody, but that affects some, guys who could not be first rounders, who could be third rounders, and, they're living, in college like they are, already a fourth round draft pick. Of course, it's like, man, and without the proper education of how to invest and how to make that money last outside of college or a couple years after that, it's I think it's both ways. I think I'm like 60-40. I think I'm 60 that it is good that college players get paid, but I think it's 40 that like it's bad, because without the proper financial advisement, the knowledge of how to make money work, it could hurt a person more than it could help, especially at a young age. But I am happy that college players are getting paid, because I do think that, don't let me get started, they almost try to cancel me before, but I do think a lot of colleges owe players money. Just, I'm not saying owe players, but based off of how a lot of colleges started, especially in the South, based around,
Go ahead.
Based around, Southern schools, man, and how certain black players could not play back then in those schools, and just the grounds, man, and the premises that a lot of colleges was built off of, I think was off the backs of a lot of, indigenous people.
Got
and
it.
so, I ain't like saying like reparations, but I think it is good that now, like, these institutions are, or however, I don't know how it works, but whatever, are like giving money to people who are creating revenue for them.
Got it. I get it.
But I think it's hurting them, because they don't teach them financial literacy
I
like they
was
should.
about to say that's the only. So like I mentioned, I like Dion because Dion's teaching them. I would assume financial literacy or doing his best to become the best men when you get for that money. And going piggybacking off of what you were just talking about the institutions. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you buy a piece of land or something? Or I know you mentioned to me that a former plantation or something was on there, and you were going to buy the whole thing. And it was going. Did you end up doing that?
I'm working on it, but I did buy a lot of land around my town and
Okay.
land that was family owned or like just from other families. But I'm working on that right now. But yeah.
What was the driving force behind that mindset? Is it be like this is our land, or what was when you told me that? I thought that was like
the driving force behind that was Clemson University is a great college. Obviously, you can't take anything away from, and the people, the professors, they have nothing to do with certain things, but just the history of Clemson University was kind of like built off slavery and just human labor, and it was in the South, and the person who created basically said like publicly, you can go look this up, fact check me. No black player will ever play in that stadium. And there's a lot of black people around that town, obviously being in the South. And so for me, I was like, man, I created who I am from this stadium. And so what better way, kind of like to reverse it and just kind of be like, like that way of thinking, is not gonna last. You get what I'm saying? But like to purchase land, and I am working on purchasing that and a lot more land. And I've already acquired like 4 different properties.
that's the ultimate dub, man. Big time dub.
Yeah, man.
That was me talking about him as a human. Like that's the human side of this guy to do stuff like that and just have the empowerment to do that. So yeah, getting back to the Texans, you got drafted. You were finally to have that impact. You changed your family's lives. How did that feel?
Man, it felt great, dog. It felt like a curse was uplifted. Shit, man, my mom always used to say like this family got a curse on it with the men because she had 2 brothers who died at a young age. One played at Clemson, one died when he was 13 in a car accident. And my father passed away, and then she had another cousin who he shot himself. He played at Clemson. He shot himself, shot his eye out. And then another cousin who played in college, and he died from like just over like his heart being. He was premature, so like his heart being too big. But he died like in college, like on break. So it's like this whole thing. My mom was like all the men, our family, like die young, and a lot of them obviously played sports or tried to, and I was like the one who kind of like surpassed that. You get what I'm saying?
Good
so it felt like it's just crazy, bro. Like for real, the real shit, man. Shit feel like my mama say that she's like, feel like you uplifted the curse.
And isn't that knowing that story now and seeing from that point in time to where you're at now? Isn't that crazy how your life has been like this since the curse has been uplifted?
Sure.
It's literally you've been every year excelling and thriving.
It's a blessing, man. Even like last year, not winning the Super Bowl, but just allowing my family to be there and be part of something like that. Was cool, man. Because success is obviously a perspective thing of what you define success. Of course, I want to win a Super Bowl. Of course, everybody want to win a championship, but just even getting there and achieving that, was cool. And I feel like I got a lot more left. And I think I speak everything into existence. So hopefully I do win a Super Bowl. But just, my family being there in that moment.
Oh, yeah,
it was like, it was a Super Bowl for us. But, honestly, like, we've already had a Super Bowl and making it out of not living in a trap house. You feel?
Yeah, man, I'm so proud of you. Knowing that, and like, that's the mentality. Like, I've been fortunate, and I always tell people we wish for other people's problems. Like, we shouldn't complain. We shouldn't. Like, there's always something worse, dude. I literally I have to show you this. You can check your phone if you want. This thing is, as we're talking about this, hit me right in the face with it, man. How you should be grateful for everything. I don't know if you've seen this yet. Right here, check this out.
It's a motherfucker driving a Ferrari, mad that he got a Ferrari. It's a motherfucker in a Honda wishing he had a Ferrari. It's a motherfucker riding a bike wishing he had a Honda. It's a motherfucker at a bus stop wishing he had a fucking bike. It's a motherfucker homeless on a bench wishing he had coffee to be on a bus because it's too fucking cold outside. It's a motherfucker in a hospital bed wishing he was fucking homeless to even walk because he's paralyzed. It's a motherfucker dead, burning in hell right now. Wishing he was fucking a paraplegic, so at least, even though his body don't work, his mouth works, and he be praying every motherfucking day, trying to avoid going to the hellfire. Be grateful, man. I'm saying, be grateful. Never let desperation change your destination. Never let frustration change your destination. Never let temptation change your destination. Yeah, it's hard, but it's worth it.
Worth it, boy. Nah, he's saying some real shit, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's some of the realest shit I heard lately in life right there, man. I like how you put that in perspective where everybody can understand it. And you know that approach is it can come off as aggressive to some, but if you understand what he's saying, that's real, man. That's real life, dog. That's been my life, man. Perspective, dog. And that's why I don't never tell people like what I went through is the worst shit. Like I'm from this.
I get it.
You know, because man, you never know. Like even somebody who grew up in the suburbs, man, they could be going through worse shit, or they could have went through worse shit. You know, you don't judge people, man.
You're living proof of that. When you were talking that, I said I saved that for a reason, and I always tell Priscilla all the time, like I have God gave me a gift or whatever you want to call it to fuel people, and it gives me signs and. That was one of those moments. I saw this morning.
That makes sense.
And I didn't post it, and I made a post today, and I saved it for some reason.
That's crazy.
And here you are telling me this story, and I said, that's why I was supposed to save this, because you're living proof of that.
I appreciate that.
That's real as fuck, man. And I hope people can take that mentality and, pursue greatness. But the bad news is, when it was the Chiefs and Eagles for the Super Bowl. Sorry, Hop. I was pulling for the Eagles, man.
I mean, you do train Darius Slay, so I ain't mad at you.
I was like, man, for the first time, though, Hop's on the team. He's going to finally win a ring. It's going to be a win-win, and the motherfucking Chiefs finally didn't get it done.
Hey,
God damn.
But who was the underdogs? Because I wasn't paying attention to the media that week, but who's the underdogs?
I think you guys were probably the underdogs.
Damn, for real?
Maybe.
Okay, all right.
But the thing is, it's
damn, I thought people didn't fuck with the Chiefs.
But I think for that series, for that Super Bowl, they considered Philly the better team, so that's why you guys are the underdogs. Mm-hmm. But obviously the dynasty of Mahomes and the greatness of the Chiefs, like, you were supposed to win, and it's just like LeBron, man.
Okay, I get you saying. I get you saying. It was like that magic, like
yes, it's
like
the Chiefs. They're gonna win. This Tom Brady Patriots. They're gonna win. It doesn't matter. So I'm like, man, Hop's finally on that team. Just like when LeBron gets somebody finally on that team, the motherfuckers don't win the championship. I'm like, damn, that would happen to me.
That's funny, boy. Well, shit, you got a big. I mean, look, shout out to my boy Darius Slay, man. we was out there chopping it up. At one point, we was like, fuck. Yeah, man.
And then when that happened, you didn't win, unfortunately. How was it playing with Mahomes and that Chiefs team, and what was the process? Obviously now you're with the Ravens. Mm-hmm. Where was that coming from, and what happened with the Chiefs?
Man, obviously, shit, love my time there, but I think the way that the organization is going is not with an older receiver like myself.
Got
it.
And,
man, look, I get it. I ain't no hard feelings. Shit, whatever, people consider old or somebody who can't perform, like I respect it, and that everybody has a perspective, and that's why they've won, and they're going to continue to win, because they have a philosophy, and I can't sit there and be like hold a grudge or be mad. Like I'm grateful that they came and got me from Tennessee, and so I'm forever grateful for the Chiefs, and Coach Reed and Pat. Man, they treated me like family the time I was there to the time even now. So yeah, man, the situation was I was a free agent after last year. My agent Tory, he was like, what teams would you want to go to after free agency? Well, I signed to him after I was a free agent, and he was like, what teams would you want to pursue? And of course, the Chiefs, because they came and got me from Tennessee. So rightfully, why would I not want to go to the team that I just played for the Super Bowl and get them a chance to at least, see if there's any interest there before I reach out to any other team. And then the Ravens was my other team. And, thankfully we didn't have to get to a third team because, he reached out to the Chiefs and, they moved on and I respected. And so, we reached out to the Ravens and,
With the Ravens, Hop,
Yeah.
is this your last year? Is this gonna be you got 2 more years? What do you feel like you got right now?
Man, honestly, shit, how I feel and, what I know I can do, yeah, man, I feel like I can play a couple more years if I
Okay.
want to, man. And it's just on me and my body. Shit, how I train, I feel like with you guys and just, my regime, like
What about your mental?
Man, my mental's
still in
great,
it?
man. Yeah,
Okay.
man. Man, listen, bro. I might come off cool, calm and shit, but like on that field, man, like if you line up across me, you know what time it is, and shit, and it's
I fear God, homie.
nah, that's that shit. Yeah, man. I wake up, looking forward to going to practice
Love
and,
it.
and shit like that. That shit still like competing is what I love to do, man. If I can go out and compete every day, I think that's why I play chess so much now. Just 'cause
Okay.
I'm just a competitor. I like competing.
I
I've
love
never
it.
been a gambler, but
You don't need to be gambling.
yeah, but I like competing.
You just talked about financial literacy. Another thing people don't know about you is you're very well versed in that investment world and all of that endeavor. So, what all endeavors do you have? And speaking of endeavors, we were talking about legends.
Oh yeah, shout out to Legends. Shout out to
Legends. We're legends. We're actually trying to work. I need a sponsor for the Daily Dose podcast. So
I can honestly say those in Taj were the first people to talk to me about Legends before they knew I was investing in Legends. So I can honestly say that.
Taj was
And they
on
were
that.
and they were wearing Legends.
Mhm.
The first people to wear Legends that I seen was Taj and Dose. So that's true fact. And then obviously the reason I got into it was through some mutual people who knew the CEO Scott, great guy, cool story about Legends. And if you know how Legends
story.
started, I'm pretty sure you know, which is a cool story. So shout out to Scott for still, keeping Legends going and
Yeah.
doing what it's doing, allow people like myself to be a part. But we got to get y'all connected with Legends, man, and
Make it happen.
Make
Make it happen. Make it a dub.
gotta get y'all. We gotta make Legends. I feel like I could see Legends being one of the official sponsors of this podcast with all the great legends you've had up here and going to continue.
Hey, boy, I like
But
that.
but yeah, as far as investments, dog, man, I wasn't really investment savvy before I got with this guy named Aaron Stevens. And Aaron basically came in, seen everything I was doing, removed some things, removed some pieces, and outside that, taught me how to read finances and save. Just gave me books,
Yeah.
gave me knowledge, and it really helped me not just financially, but just mentally, daily, just routines and certain things that you really don't know has an effect on certain things you buy. And
Because it doesn't last you. I think people
Yeah.
think when they see your contracts or they see things, oh, you're set for life.
man, shit, man, it's crazy. Because before I met him, I ain't gonna say I was going broke, but I was on the verge of spending a lot of money at a fast rate and not having the other side of it, being invested or in the right place. So it does not last. It goes very fast. I meant to say it goes very fast if you don't know how.
Yeah. Not a lot of people can have a 13-year career either. Hopefully it's going to be 16 for you.
Man,
14,
listen.
3 more.
I think Jerry Rice. How long Jerry Rice played?
Come on. You shouldn't have to look that up. You're a 49ers guy. Don't you grab your phone.
20? 19?
Yeah.
20 or 19?
Come on. You should know that at the top of your head.
I think it was 19.
He's getting
You
nervous.
think? I think it was night. I think it was honestly, bro. I think
He went to the Broncos.
Jerry Rice into the
But
Broncos?
he never played. That's when he retired.
What? What was it? 20?
game 7 on.
Yeah, it's about to be finishing up.
It is?
I mean, it just started up. I'm tripping.
Oh. Let's see.
What's the stat, Aaron? Nito, stat of the night.
20 seasons.
Wow.
You're right.
I knew it.
You're at 13.
At 13. If Jerry can play 20 with all the technology and the recovery things we got now, if Jerry Rice played 20, yeah, man, I feel like I ain't comparing myself to Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is one of the best to ever do it, but I feel like with the technology and just the training and not technology, more so just certain things to recover the body outside of the training, but the training also I feel like is is different these days. So I think I think I could play as long as I want to. Hopefully I can play 20 years like Jerry. That'd be
That's
dope.
the plan. We're gonna push for 20 then.
Push for 20.
And speaking of that, we got the Legends deal done. You're well off on your finances with your contracts and your businesses and entrepreneurship and just good human. We talked about GOATs. We have a little debate here. Greatest of all time, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. I can't disrespect Kobe. I'm putting Kobe in there too. But who's your GOAT?
Well,
and why?
I can't take nothing away from Jordan, but I'm gonna have to go with LeBron James.
You said we're looking for those sponsors. LeBron has his own tequila company, Lobos.
Oh yeah, Lobos. I haven't had Lobos in a while, but when I did try Lobos, it was smooth, man. But shout out to Lobos for sure.
That means Lobos, you gotta send us a bottle. Make it happen.
Hey, I got you. Hey, Brian, come on, send that thing over here.
Hey,
man.
boy.
H-Town, baby.
Well, we heard it first. The GOAT debate. Finally got someone on my side about LeBron. But in all seriousness, Hop, you have a mentality like us, a warrior spirit. I can't tell you thank you enough from my bottom of my heart and my family for following us everywhere we went. As I've gotten older with success and in the business and just climbing this ladder to the top like you are in your career, it starts to get lonely.
Absolutely.
And people that I thought that would be by my side along this journey or support for me and root for me aren't there anymore. And I recently just read something that you don't lose friends. You start realizing who people really are.
Oh, for sure.
And who the people are supposed to be for you. And I'm a firm believer in seasons and reasons and seasons, however you want to say it. But you and Dre and even OD, I could say so many that have stayed by our side. You guys have, and so thank you, bro. You went to each garage. You've supported us. You come in. You work hard. I know you don't have to, and you're always taking care of people all the time. So I just want to let you know, thank you for being a real motherfucker and rocking with us.
Appreciate it, dog. Appreciate y'all, man.
It's an honor and a pleasure. And now that you know his background and a never give up spirit, that's the ultimate dub. But yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, better human, great athlete, big fucking hands. Let's hope that he gets. Let's hope that he gets that Super Bowl ring. Hop, closing out. You got one more shot with me?
Hey, man. Shit, I got some coconut. I got some Zico coconut water out there. Shout out to Zico.
We don't have a coconut water sponsor.
Hey, Zico, come on. Send on H-Town.
Houston legend, Ring of Honor for my boy Hop.
Oh man, that's the debate. That's the debate.
And then hopefully you keep balling out. Maybe get you in the talks of the Hall of Fame.
Hey man, no matter what, blessed man, and God has done me well. So Hall of Fame or not,
love
man.
your story.
Thank you.
Give your mom my love, her story. Keep winning, succeeding. Khango Sups, Regal Pools, also Sebastian Plumbing. If you need a plumber, I got a plumber for you as well.
I need a plumber, actually.
Slide, Black Man Freddy, Hop, man, it's love, it's real. Thank you for hopping on, busy man, but you made it on Daily Dose.
Man, thank you, brother.
And if you ain't down with that,
you already know what Martin say.
I got 2 words for you. Suck it! Daily Dose, like, subscribe, share, Hop.
Ciao, Bella.